It's great to be here. It's great to be back in Auburn. I'm going to focus now, how many of you have kids in this room? I spent half the night worrying about my daughter in California who had a baby girl this morning.
Wow.
I just came from the Springside Inn. I have another daughter who decided she's going to get married October the 6th this year. So so if I start talking about gazebos and it's just kids. I have 6 kids, and they keep it going. That's right. It's great to be here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ann Marie Buerkle. My dad was Al Colella. Mike, of course, knows my father. My father ran the Rivarolodrome on Clark Street for years and years, and then built the new one in the 80s. And so it's such an honor to be here today to see Auburnaians and some. But it's even more of an honor, and I'm so excited about having all of Cayuga County and Auburn in the new district. As was mentioned, the district is right now New York's 25th Congressional District. And because of redistricting and because of the fact that New York lost 2 seats, everything switches around. We're down now to 27 seats in New York, and this will be New York's 24th district. So the new district includes all of Onondaga County, all of Cayuga County, all of Wayne County, and I have about 1/3 of Oswego County, so that will be our district. And it's such a privilege, and I was so pleased with the outcome of redistricting because it's just an honor. I graduated from Mount Carmel in 1969. We just, in fact, Tim was mentioning about this past Sunday, we did a whole day of taping ads for commercials and all, and we did it on Genesee Street here in Auburn, in front of the Mohegan Market. I mean, that's where I cut my teeth. A long time ago, in the 60s and the 70s, he started me in 6th grade, my father. He was, I don't know how many of you knew my father, but he was just what America is about. He was really the quintessential entrepreneur. And my grandparents all immigrated here from Italy way back in the early 1900s. They started in New York City and they moved here. My parents were first-generation Americans, and my father spent his life trying to and working towards that American dream. And their goal was not for them, but so that they could hand to us, their kids, a better life, more opportunities than they had as first-generation Americans. And that's what they did. And that's what this nation is about. And that's why I ran for Congress back in 2009, because I have 6 children, and because as of this morning I now have 13 grandchildren. And I want to make sure that we protect that American dream, that we make sure they have opportunities, that we preserve this great republic that we have. And so that's why I ran, and I look forward to taking all your questions and hearing about your issues and your concerns. I think there's so many issues that our nation faces today. And all of these things together weaken who we are as a people, and it weakens that American dream. And the fewer liberties and the fewer freedoms that we have diminishes that American dream. And so that's what this November will be about, but it's what we've done this past 2 years in Congress, making sure that every American has a bite, has a chance at the American dream, because that's what this country is about. This country was the greatest experiment in freedom and liberty in the history of the world, and it's the longest standing republic. It is one that has survived the test of time, and I think it is because of the Constitution. It lays it out pretty clearly about the direction our nation should take. And I think we've come away from that. I was opposed to it. It's no mystery or no surprise that I thought the Affordable Care Act was not the right way for this nation to go. We need to let more free market in and get the government out of the way. And this is going to be a very regulated healthcare system that we have. The year and a half that I've been in Congress, I've served on 3 committees, and I do want to mention one of them because of your concern and your interest with the veterans. I serve on Oversight and Government Reform, which has been a very interesting committee. It really is the people looking at, in Washington, looking at agencies, looking at regulations, looking to see how the government is hurting or helping the private sector and the American citizens. I serve on the Foreign Affairs Committee, which obviously this year and last year have been it's just been incredible what has gone on in this country and in the world, the Arab Spring, and those concerns that we have in the Middle East. And then I serve in the Veteran Affairs Committee, and I'm chairwoman of the Subcommittee on Health. And that has been, there's so much talk about Washington and partisanship. That has been a breath of fresh air, because every elected official knows that we as a nation owe a debt of gratitude to our veterans. That that our veterans, their families have earned, because of their service and their sacrifice, have earned not only health care, but services and access to that American dream. And so we've done and been able to accomplish so much. In fact, yesterday the President signed a bill into law, which was, a portion of it was mine, the veteran assaults. The GAO had identified that there were sexual assaults going on in VA facilities, so we were able to get legislation passed, was signed into law yesterday. So we are able to move the ball forward, especially in issues when it comes to veterans, because that is so important. We take care of our veterans and we make sure they have the services that they need. We did a whole community roundtable in Auburn, and it's where folks like yourself come into play in raising awareness that the VA can't do everything for our veterans. That's the one thing that has really become more and more apparent to me. The VA can't handle it. What we need to do is communities come together. And so we partnered with Syracuse University. We had a large forum. How can communities, and we're going to roll this out for all communities, how can they be there when our veterans are going to come home? And over the next 5 years, we'll be having veterans come home from Iraq, Afghanistan. Probably 1 million of them will be coming home. They need jobs. They need homes. They need health care. They need a faith-based community to come home to. They need those services, and the VA can't do that by themselves. It's going to take communities. It's going to take groups like yourself, who I know you're working with the Knights of Columbus to do an honor flight for the World War II and Korean veterans. It's going to take the private sector. It's going to take people in the community who say, we need to be there for our veterans. We can't have happen what happened after Vietnam for these veterans. So it's been such an honor to serve on the Veteran Affairs Committee, to be able to help our veterans and make sure they have what they need. I've been to Brooke Army Medical, to Walter Reed, to Bethesda. We have a good VA facility in Syracuse, and it really gives you an opportunity to see firsthand the service and the sacrifice that these men and women make. And not only them, but their families. The post-traumatic stress disorder, the traumatic brain injury, the amputations. These injuries are very different than they were from Vietnam and earlier wars. Back then they would have died. Now they've got the armor, they've got technology that keeps them alive, but there's a whole other set of injuries that they come home with. And we as communities have got to make sure we identify what those needs are and then meet those needs.